Fox 19 Now begins with breaking news.
Riots continue to erupt across the city of Baltimore, Maryland, as days of peaceful demonstration turned into violent riots yesterday.
Baltimore, just the latest American city to reach the boiling point as protesters join a growing national movement against what they believe to be police brutality.
Polo Sandoval joining us live from Maryland tonight. Polo, I saw this video of this woman, this mother, who actually found her son and started beating him up. You're smiling, so you know you saw it. So how is that? Is anybody talking about that? Because we're all talking about it back here in Cincinnati.
I tell you what, yeah, everybody's talking about that video, not only here, but really across the country. And city officials are using that woman as an example. They want more parents like that because based on this new information that we've received since yesterday's really the looting and the riots, we are now learning that a majority of these instigators from yesterday were high school age students. Because keep in mind, this all started as what was supposed to be a demonstration of sorts with a bunch of high school students, and then the rock throwing began about 24 hours ago, and then before we know it, we were dealing with that full-out looting and the rioting. And so officials here are using that woman as an example, and they're saying, and they're asking parents to really make sure that their children are not taking part in these really in the looting and in the rioting, because they do say that it could lead to really more tragedy here as they continue to face off with law enforcement. I can tell you also that as the sun begins to, or at least prepares to set here in Baltimore, Maryland, there's a very real concern tonight that there's going to be even more violence. Just 24 hours ago, we saw those tensions boil over. You know, tonight officials are taking those extra steps to make sure it doesn't happen again. Everything from that curfew that will be in place tonight starting at 10 p.m. to 5, down to the additional National Guardsmen. Expect 3,000 personnel to be on patrol tonight. That'll be mainly about 1,000 law enforcement officers and the rest National Guardsmen. Behind me here outside of Baltimore City Hall, there's a few of them that are manning their post here. But again, officials not wanting to take any chances, as Governor Larry Hogan just a few moments ago said. Tonight is expected to be a very busy night. Guys.
Hey, Polo, real quick, you mentioned the curfew. What time does that start, and what does it entail? Who has to be off the streets?
Right, it'll be a 10 p.m. to 5 a.m. curfew. Yesterday, it only applied to minors. However, tonight, the difference here is it'll be citywide. Basically, if you're going to be out and about in the streets of Baltimore tonight from 10 p.m. to 5 a.m., you're either experiencing a medical emergency or you're on your way to work or coming from work. Officials want to make that clear. They do not want anybody on the streets tonight, but that's not really keeping a whole lot of people from at least going out at this point. We're still seeing those crowds, and crews are keeping a very close eye on those demonstrations. So far, fairly peaceful, just a few flare-ups.
Paula, thanks. Stay safe. We'll see you tonight at 10. Back home, Butler County sending 6-member SWAT team to help with the situation in Maryland tonight. Butler County Sheriff Richard Jones will join us on the Fox 19 Now Morning News around 8:45 tomorrow to talk about his department's involvement in keeping the peace in Baltimore. Now, those Baltimore riots, the recent violence in Ferguson and elsewhere, serve as eerie reminders of the street violence that rocked the city of Cincinnati back in 2001. The healing has been years in the making, but Fox 19 Now's Gordon Graham tells us community leaders, they aren't taking anything for granted.
Cincinnati's collaborative agreement is widely credited with helping to bring lasting peace to the city following the 2001 riots. But maintaining that peace has taken a lot of hard work. It's a constant effort. But does that make the city bulletproof?
Clearly, anything can happen at any point in time, so we always must remain vigilant in terms of keeping our finger on the pulse of what's going on out in our various communities.
City Manager Harry Black is a Baltimore native who says he's saddened by the images of violence in his hometown. Violence brought on by years of pent-up frustration. Black says Cincinnati takes measures to keep those frustrations from boiling over.
You never know what's going to trigger something like what's going on in Baltimore. So the key is to be vigilant, to be open and transparent, over-communicate at all times, which is what we try to do with respect to the police department.
However, even the best communication did not prevent protesters from shutting down I-75 back in November. But local Fraternal Order of Police President Kathy Harrell says it could have been worse.
We had a very slight incident after Ferguson with 75, but a lot of the protesters made it very clear that this is the best that they've been treated by police officers around the country is when they protested here.
The Reverend Pete Mingo says that's probably due in part to the collaborative agreement, which he helped write, and he believes transparency is the key to keeping the peace.
Anything that happens in the neighborhood, whether it's a fatal shooting or just someone being wounded, and police involvement or city officials or anybody involved that has to do with city government, immediately they release the tapes. They call a press conference, they explain it point by point what happened. They don't try to hide anything.
Cincinnati police are hoping peace will prevail Thursday evening when a group called Black Lives Matter holds a protest here at the Hamilton County Courthouse in support of the protesters in Baltimore. I'm Gordon Graham, Fox 19 Now.
Turning our attention to the nation's capital tonight, where 8 Cincinnati families are hoping to change the course of history. The U.S. Supreme Court hearing their arguments for marriage equality.
When it comes to deciding whether same-sex marriage should be in the hands of the courts or state lawmakers, division outside the Supreme Court today was all about predicting division inside it.
We really feel it's going to go in our favor.
We think it's important to keep marriage the way it is.
Court watchers listened for indications from Chief Justice John Roberts and from Justice Anthony Kennedy, widely seen as the deciding votes.
You say join in the institution. The argument on the other side is that they're seeking to redefine the institution.
This definition has been with us for millennia. And it's very difficult for the court to say, oh, well, we know better.
Both asked tough questions of both sides, making it difficult to predict what they'll do. Other justices seemed more predictable in their questions.
There is one group of people whom they won't open marriage to. So they have no possibility to participate in that fundamental liberty. That is people of the same sex who wish to marry. And so we ask, why?
At the center of the arguments is Cincinnati native Jim Obergefell, who wants his name placed as a surviving spouse on his late husband's death certificate.
For us, it was a very easy decision to say, this isn't right. This isn't something we should stand for, and it isn't something anyone else should stand for.
A decision's expected this June. Still to come, the latest in the case against a local mom accused of murdering her own infant.
And police connecting the dots between a string of wireless store break-ins. A full report coming up.
It'll be a clear, chilly night tonight. We're looking at a little bit of a speed bump in the road that takes us to a warming trend, but we will look at the weekend, and it's looking pretty good at this point. All that coming up.
The woman accused of decapitating her 3-month-old daughter will first undergo treatment before her case goes before a jury.
Based on the evidence the court has before it, court will find that Ms. Watkins currently stands to be incompetent for purpose of standing trial.
20-year-old Deasia Watkins will now enter a treatment facility, and the court will reevaluate her case in October. Police say she brutally murdered this little girl, her daughter, Janiyah, inside her aunt's College Hill home back in March. According to documents obtained by Fox 19 Now, Watkins was treated for postpartum psychosis 2 months before her daughter's death. Authorities removed the baby from her care, ordering her to have no contact. Prosecutors say her aunt allowed her to move into the same home where the baby was placed.
A priest with ties to Cincinnati, now at the center of a major legal settlement in Minnesota after a man came forward to report that Father Alan Tarleton abused him nearly 2 decades ago. And according to Minneapolis-based attorney Jeff Anderson, the accusations against Tarleton go as far back as the 1950s. Anderson announcing a settlement has led to the release of 19 personnel files for other Minnesota-based monks accused of abuse. The lawsuit filed in 2013 on behalf of a man who goes by John Doe II. He came forward alleging Tarleton abused him when he was a 14-year-old student in 1997.
The shame that goes with that is amazingly difficult. And I'm talking to you guys that are still out there because there's a lot of people behind me and a lot of people that have had this happen that have not stepped forward. The guilt and the shame that we feel doesn't belong to us.
Tarleton, previously serving as an associate pastor and teacher at St. Mark's here in Cincinnati, as well as administrator at St. Martin de Porres Parish in Wyoming. During his time in Cincinnati, he's accused of sexually abusing a 17-year-old choir boy before leaving Ohio for Louisville. Police cracking the case on a string of local wireless store robberies.
And find out what's new, a taste of Cincinnati this year when we come back.
Fox 19 Weather Now is sponsored by Toyota. Let's go places.
I-71 has reopened in Warren County after a deadly crash just south of Ohio 73 in Warren County. It took crews more than 6 hours to clear southbound lanes after 3 semis and a commercial van crashed, killing 51-year-old Ronald Hoffler Jr.
Traffic was backing up on the interstate due to the construction project on the Jeremiah Marr Bridge. All 4 vehicles involved were in the right lane. Mr. Hoffler was stopped behind the first commercial vehicle when the 3rd commercial vehicle came up from behind, failed to stop, and struck his vehicle in the rear.
Ohio State Patrol says charges are pending as the investigation continues.
4 teens landing themselves behind bars tonight for what police believe is a crime spree in several local neighborhoods. Fox 19 Now's Sean Lanier joining us live from Norwood. And Sean, police thwarted this latest burglary attempt, didn't they?
That's right, Scott. It appears that these teens are involved in a string of robberies or burglaries around the city, and the latest one was actually cut short by Norwood police at this iWireless store behind me. They believe that the teens were getting ready to break in, and earlier today I spoke with an alleged victim who gave us exclusive, surveillance video and said that he believes that the teens on the tapes were the ones burglarizing his store in Coleraine.
Since July, I would say this is the 3rd, 4th time.
Simple Mobile Solutions store manager Ala Bakawi tells Fox 19 the teens on this surveillance video has hit their store more than once.
This was more aggressive. First time there was about 1 or 2 of them. This time there was about 4 guys.
As you can see, they broke the glass in the display case and took as much as they could, as quick as they could.
The front window was busted, and they pretty much just crawled under the window.
Just as quick as they got in, they were right back out. According to Norwood Lieutenant Ronald Murphy, this was not their last stop of the night.
There's no doubt in my mind they were getting ready, probably had just pulled into the lot with their lights out to smash the window, the door window, and then enter the store.
Getting ready to strike again, Lieutenant Murphy says what they found on the teens was proof enough of what was going on.
They had rocks in their pocket, and the rocks were about the size of a baseball. We charged them knowing that they use those rocks to bust out the windows or the doors to these businesses.
2 adults, Brittany Lynn and Brian Murphy, both 18, and another juvenile were arrested. They were charged with possession of criminal tools. Another juvenile was taken into custody on open warrants. In the Coleraine Police Department, they are trying to connect the dots still to see if these teens are connected with all these other burglaries and break-ins that's happened around the town. And so as far as their investigation for the break-ins and the burglaries, that is still ongoing. Reporting live in Norwood, Sean Lanier, Fox 19 Now.
Well, CPD, they need your help tonight. They're looking for a suspect who led them on a chase through the west side this morning. Delhi Township actually began that pursuit on Faisal and Serban Drives just after 4 o'clock. And when the chase ended on Muddy Creek Road and Westburn Drive, the suspect then took off on foot. Police even enlisting the help of a canine, but to no avail. If you've got any info, please call Crime Stoppers at 513-352-3040.
Are you hungry?
Yes.
A heads up for foodies tonight. Plans have been announced for this year's Taste of Cincinnati event. Organizers predicting more than 500,000 people at the 2015 Street Festival. Now in its 37th year, it will feature nearly 50 area restaurants and food trucks with more than 60 live acts. New this year, Budweiser Bud and Burger Championship Tour will be making an appearance. Also announced this year's Best of winners. We have a full list for you on our website, fox19now.com. Look at this, all of the pieces, they are now in place at Carol Ann's Carousel at Smale Riverfront Park. It's officially installed. It's made up of 2 stationary chariots and 42 animals, all of them tied to Cincinnati history. Today, just a sneak peek, the ride's officially going to open on May 16th. It will operate year-round, and it's also available for private rentals.
What a spectacular day to ride a carousel or do anything outdoors. What do you say, Steve?
Absolutely, and tomorrow, not too bad. A little bit more moisture coming our way, but there you can see our live shot downtown Cincinnati from our levee camera. Beautiful blue sky, and let's go ahead and take a look at what it looked like from Spring Grove Cemetery earlier today. This is a time lapse. Right now it's 63 degrees, but you can see on the Spring Grove Cemetery camera, it was a beautiful day today. Just a few clouds every once in a while. Overall, ended up very nice. We did have 0.14 of an inch of rain and winds out of the northwest at 5 miles an hour. Again, the current temperature is 63 degrees. Here's what we're watching down to the southwest. We talked about this last night. This is that slow-moving low-pressure system. Notice the cloud cover is beginning to push up here into southern Kentucky, and that means we will begin to get a little bit of that. Another part of this system is coming our way out of the north and west, but when you see the model run, you'll see that most of what we're going to get is tied up with that southern low. I'll show you why in just a minute. But right now, nothing to talk about in Doppler radar around the Cincinnati area. Currently 63 at the International Airport. Skies are mostly sunny. Winds out of the northeast to 12, and the visibility is 10 miles. It's a beautiful evening out there. Almost everybody here, actually everybody here is in the 60s. We're missing a temperature out of Brookville, so it's beautiful, pleasant out there. We're going to have another chilly night tonight, and then tomorrow will be a nice day with increasing cloud cover. So at 11 o'clock, as we're all headed home from the 10 o'clock news, we're looking at temperatures in the upper 40s. As we go through the night, notice there will be a few spots like Lunken Airport dropping into the upper 30s. Most of us will be in the low 40s tomorrow morning, so we are talking tomorrow about another cool to chilly start around the tri-state, and then clouds begin to increase. This is 5 p.m. We'll begin to see the cloud cover moving in from the south and west. Cloud cover increases a little bit as we head into the evening hours. We see some shower activity to the north and west, and by 7 a.m. Thursday, it's beginning to close in on us. And then during the day on Thursday, now notice how you can see that precipitation moving like that around that upper level low that's down to the south. And so scattered shower activity in here on into Thursday night, and then for Friday, we begin to dry out. So your 7-day forecast looks like this. Tonight's low, 44. The high tomorrow, about 67 degrees. Now tomorrow, the last of the Cincinnati Reds homestand days. We are talking about Business Day Special. Now those Business Day Specials, of course, begin at 12:35. So as the game begins tomorrow, partly cloudy and 61. Partly cloudy when it ends in 67, so it looks like a beautiful day for a Business Day Special out there. The rest of the 7-day looks like this. Showers on Thursday with thicker cloud cover, a high of only 57. It's going to be a fairly chilly day, a little bit on the wet side. 44 and 68 for Friday. The warming trend kicks back in as we head into the weekend. Partly cloudy Saturday with a high of 72. Now for the Flying Pig Marathon, we're talking about a temperature Sunday morning of 51. Now, I've run many marathons in my time. I don't do that anymore, but low 50s is ideal for marathon running. So for the start of the marathon, things are looking very nice. There's a small chance for a few sprinkly showers, nothing big. Then Monday and Tuesday, high temperatures in the upper 70s, low temperatures in the upper 50s. Light showers on Monday, maybe a little thunder mixed in. Some more activity as far as showers go on Tuesday as that spring-like weather pattern continues. You can always track all this using the Weather Now app. It's available for free for your iPhone, your iPad, your Android operating system device.
All right, let's check out what we're working on for 10 o'clock.
Hoping for the best, preparing for the worst as Baltimore reels with unrest. What local police are doing now ahead of protests that are planned right here in Cincinnati.
Results are in. What's next for a local superintendent accused of fixing grades for students? Full report is tonight at 10. Do you ever use Uber? The latest way to get around town, promising to save you money by using your smartphone, but are you really safe using it? Tonight at 10, how Uber is protecting you.
Tonight at 8, don't miss Hell's Kitchen. It's followed by New Girl and Weird Loners. Then stick around for the Fox 19 Now 10 o'clock news.
It's just minutes away until the first pitch, and we're at the ballpark.
Does Homer Bailey need surgery? The Reds are going to answer that question in sports.
Joe Danneman outside a Great American Ballpark now, just minutes until Johnny Cueto will throw first pitch tonight against the Milwaukee Brewers. Now, the Reds did not make a decision today on how they plan to fix Homer Bailey's elbow, but did confirm that surgery is an option. As for Homer, he declined comment, but did make it pretty obvious that a decision has been made, even if the Reds aren't yet ready to make that decision public.
As it stands right now, we're undecided on where we're going to go. Certainly won't be pitching here in the near future based on what avenues we choose to follow to get him back right. Obviously, one would be fairly significant time loss, and the other one would be less significant.
Okay, the Reds just did call up Michael Lorenzen today to take Homer Bailey's spot in the starting rotation. Lorenzen will make his Major League starting debut on Wednesday against the Brewers. At the ballpark tonight, I'm Joe Danneman, Fox 19 Now.
Fantastic night for that.
Blue sky behind him, spectacular.
It's be another chilly one without a lot of cloud cover. It's going to be cool tomorrow morning, but very, very nice.
All right, well, that's good. Can we plant?
Plant whatever you
want.
want.
You said wait till Mother's Day. That's not till, that's for another week and a half.
Yeah, and that's what.
So what are you saying now?
That's what the farmers say.
Okay.
I think we're safe, though, for most of those things.
All right.
So still to come tonight, the rest of the evening, we're going to be monitoring the situation that is going on in Maryland. A lot of Baltimore, there's a lot of rioting still going on, a lot of police. There's a curfew in effect until 10 o'clock. We will be tweeting it out. We'll be giving you the very latest on our mobile app and also on our website, fox19now.com. And then we'll have a full wrap-up tonight at 10 o'clock and live hits from Baltimore with the very latest.
Meanwhile, Cincinnati planning their own protests, and that is tentatively set for Thursday.
Hopefully that's peaceful as well, and they won't be marching on the streets of the highway like the last riots. Have a great night. See you at 10.